Hey everybody, welcome to dinner time. Tonight it's going to be probably a short video. It's been a long week and I'm tired. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my version of poutine, um, gravy covered fries. I'm going to add some. I got some beef, short ribs over here. I've already got prepped, got salt, pepper, garlic on them. Um, so I'm going to take y'all through the process of how I do this. Um, It may work for you, it may not. I am cooking in the Instant Pot. I'm trying to test this thing for all it's worth because my mom grew up, well, my mom was a single mother, and she would have a hard time coming up with quick meals for me and my older brother. So I try to keep that in mind when I make these videos. That way, people that have kids and they're going to ball games and cheerleading and flag practice, and I try to keep that in mind and try to throw stuff in to where you don't have to tend to it a lot because once I put everything in here and I close the lid, I'm cooking it for probably 50, 55 minutes. Other thing, I'll be cooking French fries. I'm not going to show y'all me cooking French fries because you should know how to cook French fries. Um, it's not hard. I'm not making them. I'm just pulling them out of the bag and throwing them in there. Like I said, long week and I'm tired. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use half an onion. I've got this on saute right now, which is this button right here. So once it comes up to temperature, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it'll say hot once it gets on there. Like I said, I'm only going to use half this onion. I'll probably use the other part of it for garnish. That way, have a little something extra on it. 'Cause I've also got some green onions I'm going to chop up and throw on it. But like I said, I'm not going to show y'all all of it because I know y'all have seen other people cooking, doing the same thing, or even done it yourself. Uh, Trash ball. Just remember that. I'm basically going to be chopping it in half and chopping it in half. I'm gonna set it up on the end like this, and just. And this is more for flavor, if anything. Um, while it's cooking, so I've got a little bit of oil in here. So once it gets hot, I'm actually gonna sear my spare ribs in there, and I'm gonna get all that goodness on bottom. I think they call it fawn or fauna or whatever. I'm not a chef. I just like to cook. Um, had a comment while this is. Well, it is heat or it is hot. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and I'll tell you that story in a second. We're gonna go ahead and stick these in here. We're gonna let these kind of brown off a little bit for a couple minutes. Get some crust built up on the bottom of it. And I do have quite a few over here just because me and my wife both will wind up taking this for lunch as well. So let me try to put some more in there. Anyway, what else is to say? Anyway, that's life. Brain's full of doing enough right here because it's got everything running through it. Kind of things to forget. Anyway, we'll let those brown off and we'll move on to the next step. All right, we're back. This has been going for a minute or two. You basically just want to get a little brown on there. It's nice and pretty on the bottom. Now, the next part is going to be completely up to you from what I'm using. There's a reason why I'm using what I'm using, and I'll explain to you as I go why I'm using it. So, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my onions in there, and I'm gonna let them go for a few minutes, let them kind of get translucent. See if it can't break up some of that goodness on the bottom. What I'm going to be cooking it in is I've got 1 cup of Guinness, half a cup of beef broth, and probably a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon. I just kind of liquid smoke in there. 'Cause what I want to do is I want to get that a smokiness to it with that liquid smoke. And what I'm going to be doing next is going to bring a little more of that smoke out. Um, and it might surprise you. Maybe it won't. I mean, y'all subscribe to my channel. Y'all kind of know me, and I do things different or my way because this is home. I mean, this is meals that can be done at home. You don't have to do the onions. You don't have to sear it off. You don't have to use this. You can use just regular beef broth. Um, they're make it your own way. I mean, try it however you want to try it, and then next time you do it, add a step. Like use a half a cup of Guinness. If that Guinness, what I'm going to be doing is it's going to make the gravy at the end, so that the drippings from the fat and the Guinness and the beef broth and that little bit of liquid smoke, I'm actually going to be turning that into my gravy at the very end to put over the French fries and the meat. And I'm using mozzarella cheese pearls. Let me get. They're these little guys because in this part of the country we don't have cheese curds. I've looked. I could order them, but I wanted this tonight because you know time. Anyway, got my stuff. My onions about. They're good enough. They're going to cook while they're in there. Anyway, 1 shot of bourbon. The reason why I'm using bourbon is because bourbon is stored in charcoal barrels. So what's going to happen is when I put this in here, it's going to deglaze the pan. All the alcohol is going to evaporate off, and I'm going to be left with that charred vanilla caramel barrel woody taste, kind of giving a little more of that smoke flavor. So it might be a little loud. My apologies. I'm not going to rinse that out yet. I might have to use it. Y'all know. It's been a week. Anyway, bourbon's a good one to use it in just for the simple fact of it's got all those notes you want to hit, like smoking meat. Um, I do smoke a lot of meat, and I use different woods for what I'm doing. I'll use pecan woods and apple woods together for my beef. Sometimes I throw a little cherry in there, but I try to keep the cherries and the apples and the peach woods. I do a lot of that with my pork. Um, Chicken, I kind of mix it up a little bit because it takes on pretty good smoke flavor. Um, but yeah, that's basically it. You just deglaze that pan. And anyway, bourbon is it's stored in charred oak barrels. I mean, I don't know if you know that or not, but it's just a little bit of information. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these in here, and you can stand them up on the side. It's not gonna hurt anything. Um, Definitely not gonna hurt anything. You can stack them, whatever you want to do, just to get them all in there. And I don't know if you have an Instant Pot. Um, if you do, great. If not, you don't necessarily have to do this in the Instant Pot. You can braise your short ribs on top of the stove. You want to put your liquid in like I did and bring it to a boil. Do everything that I just did. Bring it to a boil. Put it down to simmer. And you'll want to cook it for probably, if I had to guess, probably 2.5 to 3 hours on a simmer, and it'll break it down. So, but now we're gonna pour that in. Shame to waste a good Guinness on that, but it's gonna taste delicious. Anyway, you can do it on top of the stove. You can braise them in your oven. Um, get an oven safe pan with a top on it because you want to keep it covered. That way, all the moisture stays within the vessel you're cooking it in. In the oven, you might want to let it go for 3 to 3.5 hours because it's going to have to come up to temp and start simmering in there. So it's going to take a little longer in your oven. But as far as on top of your stove, in your oven, in your Instapot, or you can even smoke them on a vertical smoker or, you know, whatever kind of smoker, or your grill or whatever. Just make sure they're fall apart tender. I mean, that's really, but this right here is probably one of the best investments I've made. And truth be told, me and my wife were at Goodwill one day, and I asked her if she liked to gamble, and she's like, "Maybe. What are you talking about?" And I told her what was. Well, I said, "Hold on, I'll be right back." And I walked over and I picked this up. I didn't know if it worked. Um, it had the cord with it, and it had the little trivet with it. But anyway, we wound up paying $13 for this 6 quart Instapot, and it's probably been the best $13 I've ever spent in my entire life. So anyway, it's still on saute. So what we're going to do, let's show you. What we're going to do is we're going to cancel the saute, hit pressure cook. I'm going to go 55 minutes. Because after 55 minutes, it may or may not be done. So I'm going to check it at 55 minutes. And if it's good, it'll be good. So, like I said, you just put that on there, take your lid, lock it down, your little valve on the back, close it, and it seals. And it's going to cook. Once it gets up to pressure, it's going to come. It's going to say the time that you set it for. Then it's going to start a countdown. Once the countdown ends, pressure cooker is going to cut off. So there's no chance of overdoing it. So then it's going to naturally release the pressure. So other than that, that's going to be the prep work for the short ribs. Like I said, I'm going to cook French fries. I'm going to use these things, these little pearls, and I'm going to chop up some green onions. So, oh, and I got to make the gravy. I'm actually going to use probably a teaspoon of cornstarch and a tablespoon of water and make a slurry out of it. Pour it in there as it bubbles. That way it thickens it up a little bit. You can use flour, but the only problem with using flour is it takes a while to cook that raw flour taste out of it. So, and I'm looking for, as soon as this gets done, I'm ready to eat. I'm ready to get on the couch because, like I said, rough day, rough week. Anyway, once it becomes that time, I'll see you. All right. Now, 55 minutes for short ribs. Watch this. It just comes right off the bone. So what I'm doing is I got this back on simmer, so that way it can be hot enough the way when I put dig all these bones out. I mean, it just fall off the bones. I mean, really. Let's see. They just fall apart. 55 minutes in the Instant Pot. I mean, you really can't beat that. You really can't. So I got my fries going over here. I'm just gonna take them out, and I got it back on saute. That way, I can put my cornstarch in there, and it'll actually um, make my gravy, which is really what I want. Kind of looking forward to this gravy. I know it's gonna be good. I mean, anytime you make brown gravy with Guinness, it's gonna be fantastic. Don't stick your fingers in there. So anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the rest of these out, and I'll holler back at you in a second. Okay, got my beautiful bride back behind the camera. Makes things a little easier. Anyway, teaspoon cornstarch, tablespoon water. I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour that in there. Take my whisk it around, and it's gonna thicken that up into a gravy. If that's not enough, if it's not thick enough for you, all you gotta do is just add a little more cornstarch and water. Check this out. I mean, it just comes apart that easy. A little membrane on the back of it. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but that's okay. We'll make it work. I'm gonna let this thicken up real good, and we'll be back to plating. Sorry, my mic kind of went wonky. Anyway, all right. To all my Canadian friends out there, I know I've got some subscribers from Canada. Please, if I'm doing this wrong, let me know because I would like to do it how y'all do it. If I can. Anyway, we're gonna take steak fries. My dog's barking. We'll take steak fries. I don't have cheese curds, like I told you earlier. We don't have cheese curds in this part of the country, so I'm assuming you just kind of spread them around, doing like this. I like cheese. Fabulous. And I'm gonna take my meat, just kind of throw over top of it. I love beef. It's delicious.
And you can probably hear our dog whining in the background. He's actually on the back porch. He just went to use the restroom and he sees this plate of meat that's happening. And that's why he's whining.
He's not happy about it. He don't realize that he gets the bones.
Yeah, the bones are for them.
Yeah. But anyway, and it's a really thin gravy. I'm not used to thin gravy, but from what I've seen, you use a thin gravy. So you just kind of pour over top of it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a few more pieces of cheese on top. I'm gonna add some green onions, and that is, I guess you could call that a Mississippi poutine, poutine, or however you want to pronounce it. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, but anyway, hope y'all enjoyed this. We'll see y'all on the next video. Keep cooking.